Dread Girls podcast, where we like to get high and talk about horror movies. I'm Casey.
Popcorn.
And eat popcorn.
Sorry, I'm Jess. And this week we are talking about a movie based on a novel.
Graphic novel.
Graphic novel by none other than your mom.
It is.
Just kidding. It's obviously Stephen King's Summer.
Yeah.
So we're talking about Silver Bullet. The novel is called Cycle of the Werewolf.
Yes, very, very good. Amazing little graphic novel. I read it in like an hour. Super short. Absolutely love it. Such good illustration. Bertie Wrightson, he does a lot of illustrations for different authors and stuff like that.
It's really cool.
We got these, so we ordered these little popcorn buckets when Scream 6 came out, which was a while ago.
Like March.
And they just got here. I got us the little cups.
And I got the buckets.
And if you were at Dead Formats over the weekend, they were the cups were our raffle buckets. But yeah, so we've got our popcorn, and of course we had to put popcorn in here. So, if you hear us crunching a little...
Mind your business.
No, you didn't. Just like, if you see me bopping along to Vin Diesel's 2020 single, no, you didn't. Move along.
I've seen tit.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't. So,
I'm sober now, Casey. I've seen tit. Well, I'm
I don't care. It's
halfway sober.
Go look it up. Vin Diesel made music. It's a banger. Go, get away from me.
Anyway,
the movie does open, it says based on a novelette by Stephen King, which I discussed that last time. Novelette, novella, whatever, graphic novel. My first note, other than novelette / graphic novel, I don't know why I wrote that down, was R.I.P. Corey Haim.
Yeah.
He is the star of this movie. He tragically died in 2008, 2009, at like 38. Super tragic. And I don't remember the actor's name, but the actor that played Barry, his best friend, also died the year before him.
Really?
So, yeah, super, super young. I hate that. I hate when I see, all this stuff. I just saw the news today that they found Julian Sand's body. 65-year-old amazing actor. He went missing in December on a hike in California, and they just found his remains.
Oh my god.
So at least he can be put to rest now. At least his family has closure and all that.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to Silver Bullet.
Can I tell you what my first note says?
Yes.
It has nothing to do with anything. We're known for being a really chatty podcast, so...
Yeah, we do. We get a little chatty.
I'm going to keep that going. Yeah, I'm just going to keep that going. Because that's what we do, and people like it. Can't help it that we're so popular. Anyways. ASMR.
Somebody's going to be like, unsubscribe. Don't eat in my ear ever again.
I put some Hawthorne Heights lyrics. Got a single silver bullet shot right through my heart to prove I can't survive without you.
Hawthorne Heights wrote the most emo song to ever exist, and no one will ever top it, and you can fight me on that.
Ohio's for Lovers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on,
but I was actually a Hawthorne Heights fan.
I love that. I love that song.
I loved many of their songs. Like, I had several of their albums.
Like but
I
if
drew
somebody,
a little gun and I wrote that there because I just felt like that was a nice
if somebody tried to convince me that Ohio's for Lovers is not the most emo song that's ever been written, I would fight them because they're incorrect.
Show me what's worse.
Yeah. Show me.
But anyway, sorry, I just had to throw that in there. Give you guys a little sing song. Yeah. We're chatty, we're songy, we're sing-songy.
We start this movie off with a fucking great death. This movie has good deaths.
It really does.
It's like it's a simple, very simple story. It's a simple movie. It's not boring because it does have some really good tension building. There's a couple like good 80s style scares. This came out in 85, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is what we said. Yeah. And then the werewolf, there's so many practical effects in this that I really fucking enjoy. And we start this off, this guy is digging on some railroad tracks or something, or...
Picture this. Spring, 1976.
Sicily, 1972.
A man, drunk on the railroad.
And then a werewolf came.
and just fucking destroyed the shit out of it. Well, he decapitated
Oh my
him.
god, yeah, we get one of those really good 80s shots.
It reminds me of, like, Jason, where he knocked his block off.
Yes, where it, like, happens, and then it cuts, and some PA just tosses the fake head, like, across the frame, and it just... Those are my favorite. And yes, we get a
I
fucking...
should do that with my mannequin. Make a little short horror film.
Where I, like, knock your block off, and then it's
like, wow.
You gotta make your makeup match again. Yeah, and then, yeah.
Amazing. Sorry,
that's gonna
just
be it.
Sidebar.
That's finally where we're gonna go viral on TikTok. Oh my god, I'll wear a Jason mask.
I love it.
I
That'd
love
be
it.
so funny. Perfect.
It's gonna be so good. We're gonna get on a roof. Just kidding. So I wrote so 80s. Very, very 80s.
I wrote soundtracks were so much cooler in the 80s.
It's very goosebumpsy and
synthy.
Yeah.
I love synthy. Like
80s horror soundtracks really are top.
80s horror synth. Like, fuck me all the way up.
That's why one of my all-time favorite soundtracks of ever is Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. Such a synthy soundtrack. Previous episode, guess the soundtrack. I don't think that was one you guessed.
No, I got it wrong. But
That's because it sounds real similar to other 80s synthy.
So at my job, we have a bunch of vinyls that have been collected throughout the staff throughout the years. And some of my favorites to play are we have John Carpenter's Lost Themes. And then we have the Halloween, the 2018 remake soundtrack.
Mm-hmm.
And, not remake, sorry, the 2018 movie. And they're both, like, two of my favorites to play. And people are just like, oh, it's creepy in here. I'm like, thank you. So, yeah, anyways, soundtrack was great. This man gets his head knocked off.
It's amazing. And then everybody's like, it was an accident. And it's like, was it?
They think he got drunk. And, well, I mean, he was drunk, but...
Oh, yeah, he was drunk.
He was wasted.
But they think he, like, got run over by the train. Like, this is not a Sean William Scott-esque Final Destination.
I love that kill.
So good. But it's not that, like, the man's head is in the middle of the tracks and his body's over here. And it's like, are you sure?
Did it really project his body way over there?
And
What do I know?
why was it such a clean, perfect... He'd be swooshed a little, right?
And why would his head be that perfectly on the tracks?
Right, exactly.
So many questions.
Swooshy? But anyway, and then we go to, we cut to Reverend whatever.
In Tarker's Mill, a kind little town.
What was the Reverend's name? I wrote priest at first, and I kept writing priest. So anyway, I kept writing priest because I grew up Catholic. But apparently he's a reverend.
Reverend Lowe.
Reverend Lowe. And, I have trauma. And also weird kinks. And this reverend was doing it for me.
He was pretty hot.
I'd
let him spank me.
Yeah, he looked like to me if Cillian Murphy and Christopher Walken had a baby.
I could see that.
And I want to fuck that guy.
Well, you're also a monster fucker, so that, I mean...
Monster fucker extraordinaire. I saw the TikTok you did. You're like, I'm not a monster fucker. I'm like, I am.
Did you also see the fucking children? Weird flex.
So weird. It's gotta be one of those filters that was just meant for like a bracket, and then somebody put the smashability, and then it just happened to have kids in it.
You're probably right.
I could be giving people the benefit of the doubt, though.
You're right.
I shouldn't be eating this. I just fucking choked on it. So, he is speaking to his congregation. There's the funeral of the guy. The whole town's there. And, we meet one of our other main characters, the girl...
Jane.
I'm so bad with names. Jane, who is an older sister, to our main character,
Marty.
Played by Corey Haim, and he is a paralyzed little boy who is wheelchair-bound. And you immediately get the sense that, of course, the big sister has to take care of her younger brother. Her parents are very reliant on her to look after him, be in charge of him, help him with all these extra things. A trope that I saw a lot, obviously, in Pearl, with her dad.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
Different time, but still.
Well, Jane and Marty are doing their own thing at the funeral, not sitting there listening to all of the bullshit. And
Marty climbs a tree.
Yes, he climbs a tree. He's got them strong arms.
Yeah.
But what is his best friend's name? Brady?
Yeah.
He's
Or
a little
Barry.
shit, Barry. Whatever. He's a little
I think
shit.
It's Brady, actually.
He fucking scares Jane with a snake, and then he throws it at her, and she, like, fell over into the mud. She was super devastated.
Mm-hmm.
Marty you could tell he felt really bad.
Really
like,
bad.
I didn't know he was going to take it that far.
He even told his friend, like, when his friend was like, oh, let's go prank her with this snake, he's like, don't take it too far, dude. Like,
and he did.
Like, yes, he's a shitheel little brother, as shitheel little brothers are, but he was like, man, and he kept apologizing the whole way home.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, fuck you. Because you're mad. You know what I mean? You're just... And then you get over it. That's what siblings do. It's a very realistic sibling relationship. We do see this little cutscene that ends up being so fucking important and integral to some of my thoughts on the movie. Some of the reasons that I really like the movie. Because, so we see this little cutscene where Jane, she's standing in the bushes crying after she falls over in the mud puddle. And she sees this guy and this woman, and they're, like, having this heated debate, like, talking to them amongst themselves, and she's, like, telling him she's pregnant. He's like, that ain't my baby. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. You little hussy. And she's like, listen, this is your kid, and he, like, walks away, and the woman's left crying.
She's, like, sobbing. It was really believable. Like, you could feel the pain.
Yeah. But it seems so inconsequential. It seems like, what the fuck was that? But comes back later in a very big way, in a way that, like, honestly completely changes the lore of the werewolf in its entirety. Yeah. Which I think is really interesting. We will get to that. I wrote, we love practical effect.
Yes.
And I did write around this time, it would be interesting to see if Jess would be able to guess who the werewolf was. Because I don't remember a time I didn't know who the werewolf was, because I remember watching the movie when I was younger, I remember reading the story, all this other stuff. So I knew who it was the whole time, and I just thought it would be really interesting to see if she guessed. And I think it's hard to.
So...
Good reveal, though.
Right between, like, the man and woman arguing scene and then shortly after what happens to her, we are not introduced to a character, but we are told about a character who is Uncle Red, who is played by Gary Busey himself.
He's the perfect drunkle.
Yeah.
You know that drunk uncle, that everyone has? He is the epitome of a drunkle. Yeah.
And so... Jane and Marty's mom is talking to Marty specifically, because him and Uncle Red are very close. And she's like, oh no, sorry, Jane says something about him being like an alcoholic and got his third divorce and blah, blah, blah. And, she's like, that was not a nice way to tell you that. But we're told about Uncle Red. And then it was a little bit later, but I really thought that maybe Uncle Red was the werewolf.
Mm-hmm. Which is fair. I think
because they made a comment about, like, him, like, randomly disappearing and, like, stuff like that. And I was like,
That's literally what I wrote was, the uncle is a red herring, and then right next to that I wrote, interesting to see what Jess guesses. Because I definitely think that they're trying to lead you that way. And then even, when it gets further in the story and he's helping them, it could always still, you're still waiting for that twist of him to be like, it was me the whole time. But it's not. I wrote that it sounds a lot like the Creep Show soundtrack, which makes sense. Around this time is when we see that Gary Busey is the uncle, and I wrote, oh, the drunkle is Gary Busey. How appropriate.
It's like he didn't even have to act.
No. He really wasn't.
So anyways, this is where we get our scene with the woman that we were talking about earlier. Where she's upstairs in her house. I don't know who the old lady downstairs is supposed to be that's like playing... Were they playing piano? Was she vacuuming?
Yeah, her mother maybe.
But that's irrelevant. But the girl is sitting there crying, looking at the picture of the man that she was in love with that clearly wanted nothing to do with her. And she was about to take a bunch of pills and kill herself. And she said, like, suicide makes you go to hell. or something like that, but, like, especially if you're pregnant,
Mhm.
and then, like...
So it's like the mortal sin.
Yeah, and then literally, like, right after that, fucking wolf through the window and slices that bitch up.
Oh, chomps that bitch up. Pieces.
Oh, yeah, and it's so cool, like, the effect on the legs, and, like, it's just really cool.
The werewolf itself, I think, looks awesome.
It does, it looks really
it's a
cool.
design. It's a lot different than, let's say, the American Werewolf in London design, which is a very typical, in my opinion, the greatest werewolf transformation and greatest werewolf I've ever seen. But it looks, it's more human in this, which again makes sense for the way that I think that they're setting this lore up, which I think, takes a little detour from what a lot of people know as general werewolf lore. And I love werewolf and vampire lore because I love Twilight. I also just love supernatural monsters in general, but so around here is when Marty and his best friend are flying some kites, and yeah, somewhere around here.
I feel like that's a little bit further. Because we get the scene where the guys are in the bar, and this is where we see the bartender's got a bat called the Peacemaker. Yes. He's trying to, like, break up a fight, and they're just, like, arguing about the way that the police and the sheriff are handling the murder situation in town. This is right
after they had another death, right?
After the woman's death.
Well, and then after the woman's death. Oh, yeah.
Because then they meet again later after...
Well, because that one little girl was talking about how she keeps hearing rattling in the shed, and then, that death ends up happening. So the whole town's really scared, and there's, like, the fight in the bar between the guy and the...
Sheriff,
yeah. Basically, so around this time, him and his friend are flying kites together, and, Jane comes to get Marty. She's like, okay, let's go. And he leaves Brady behind. And then cut to bloody kite.
I love the bloody kite. And it was a smiley face. And there was a point where it's flying. And there's this, like, really ominous music. And I was like, yeah, I live for scenes like that.
I wrote, show me that dead kid body. But you do not see it. And that's a disappointment. You show me that dead kid. Show
us the dead kid.
Let's see that dead kid. If you're gonna kill the kid, let me see that dead kid. I want a dead body.
If I'm watching a movie for an hour and a half and you don't show me a dead kid,
even if you
killed the kid,
just a kid with some scratches and some... No, show me that dead kid. Show me that dead body.
You're psychotic.
We are ridiculous.
Anyways.
And his dad, who has been one of the, like, town people that's wanted to, like, start these mobs, is at the bar when they're getting into another fight with the sheriff, and he's like...
Oh, we skipped a whole death.
Oh. Yeah, we did. We skipped that one guy's death, because that was the one from out in the shed.
Tammy's dad, yes. Yeah.
Tammy's telling Marty, hey, I heard some crazy stuff out in my shed, and then, that night,
he's like,
that
I could
guy
look,
does.
but I don't think my wheelchair would get up the steps. It was really sweet. She's like, I know you would.
Some good... Everyone who dies in this, there's some good deaths, man.
Yeah, her dad is a piece of shit drunk, asshole, rude, but he goes out to their greenhouse, which is like a really cool greenhouse. It's got 2 stories. Mm-hmm. He's drunk. He's like, my plant, better not be breaking my pops, blah, 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 with his fucking shotgun. And...
Anyway, sorry.
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know.
But, all of a sudden, he goes up to the second floor of the greenhouse, and the werewolf hand pops up, grabs him, and impales him on one of the boards that was sticking up from where he broke through the floor. And then he pulls him down. It was really fucking cool.
Yeah.
Sorry. So
it's a real good one.
But yes, and then we shift forward to...
Brady's death.
Yes.
And then, there's that...
The whole town is in fear.
Yes. They're all so scared, and then they're at that bar, they're having that fight. The sheriff is like, listen, mob justice is never a good thing. And then that dead kid's dad is like, bitch, tell me about mob justice. Fuck you. fuck this town, fuck the police, that part's right. I'm gonna go hunt down whoever or whatever killed my son. No, stop it. Mob justice really doesn't work. Like, generally when a small town gets together like that, you're not doing good.
Evil dies tonight.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Evil dies
have you seen
tonight.
Halloween Kills? Have you seen Beauty and the Beast? These things don't end well. Stop it. Stop it.
Right.
But also don't leave it to the police, because they're not gonna do anything either.
We have no good options here.
There are no good options.
So yeah, unfortunately, Brady's dad finds him. Red pulls out a flask at the funeral.
But he doesn't drink it.
But he doesn't drink it. He puts it back.
He, like, looks over at Marty, because it's his best friend's fucking funeral. That was a really sad moment. Everyone looked really depressed.
Yeah, I mean, this child just died on top of all these other people dying. But...
He's like, oh, we'll catch that guy. And Marty's like, what if it's not a guy? I don't know, Marty.
I don't know.
Maybe you should find Doc and go back to the future.
So yeah, this lynch mob is going on. They've got a bunch of shotguns. The people are so goddamn disorganized. It's a mess. One of them got caught in the... This movie has low-key camp to it, which I love. Like, this guy gets caught in a bear trap, and this guy's, like, helping him open it up, and then someone shouts or something, and then he just shuts it back on his fucking leg. I was like, oh my god!
Yeah.
Fucking hilarious. And then he just looked at him like... It was like a Three Stooges moment,
so
like, where something really bad happens.
A lot of these
but you're
moments
like, whoa.
are very, like, over the top. Like, why are... At, like, some point, they're, like, very scared, like, walking around in the mist, and it's like, do you even know what you're looking for at this point? Or are you just... They just randomly start walking in a random direction, not knowing what or who they're looking for.
Exactly. I was like, what are they looking for? Like, but it was really funny because then a few minutes later they're all there and they're like, where's that noise coming from? And someone was like, it's directly underneath us. Like, there was this layer of fog. Mm-hmm. And, like, have you ever been to a haunted house where they had, like, the fog and, like, the lasers and you're so disoriented?
Right at chest level. That was
really can't see a damn thing.
That was the best scare I've ever felt in my entire life.
Oh
the biggest, like, straight from, I could feel it right here in my heart to...
I just got chills thinking.
In an instant, every extremity of my body, like, adrenaline, like, a fucking truck hit me. That is the most scared I've ever been in a split second. The biggest jump scare is when they had that. It's a layer of fog right at chest level. You cannot see below it. And then all of a sudden someone comes up and he's right fucking there. That is the moment that I was like, I don't know if I'll ever be this scared. Like,
it was
that,
terrifying.
Like, yes, I'm sure, like, if I was in a really horrifying situation, like, a long, amount of fear, but that, like, jump scare, whew,
well, like, one time,
right up the ass.
It was me, Ashley, and my sister went to Nightmare on Edgewood when it was still at the old baseball field. And they had, like, a laser one, or, like, the fog up to here, and then, like, this green laser. And, like, when you look forward, there's this giant snake head. So you think that that's the scare. So you're focused on that. Because it's, like, moving. It's, like, literally this big. And the animatronics are so good there. But,
they are.
It started moving, and so we were focused on that. And then, like, this guy grabs Ashley's ankle, and then another one pops up. And we were just... That's where they also had a photographer. So there's, like, a picture of us all just fucking screaming. But yeah, anyway,
another really camp moment comes out of this.
I know, I love this
because
moment.
after so they're in this
Picking
fog.
them
It's
off one by
actually a
one.
really like cool scene, and they are just kind of picking them off one by one. But then we get this. So it cuts away from that scene, and it cuts to the funeral, and it's 3 fucking coffins in a row. I just think that is so fucking funny. Just like,
oh my god, that's different than the scene I thought, but I thought that was funny too.
Yeah,
I said, the bartender hits him with his bat, and then the wolf breaks it, and then hits him with his own fucking bat. Yeah. I thought that was really funny.
Actually, I forgot about that, because, it's like a just below frame kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
You see the arm come up and the whack.
I also wrote cuts to a 4 or 5 person funeral. This is camp.
So camp. Yeah, literally. Anytime you cut to that in a funeral... Like, in a movie where it's multiple people sharing a funeral, I don't think that happens.
After the Reverend was like, don't go, and then it's
Final Destination 3, the, tanning beds that cut to the twin caskets.
Amazing.
Peak camp. Obsessed. I love it.
Roller coaster
of love.
Ooh, ooh, ooh,
around this time, he looks like Cillian Murphy and Christopher Walken, and then I wrote, so, like, yeah, yummy, who is this man? Turns out, he is only attractive in this movie. I looked at other things of him, he is not that attractive, and he usually plays, like, a military man.
Interesting.
But he looks, something about the curly hair, and I hate to say it, but the white collar is doing something for me.
When was the last time that you went to therapy?
It's been a while. I had this priest growing up when I was in the Catholic Church that I had such a big crush on. And he was at my grandma's funeral a couple months ago.
You had the wrong parts. You weren't his type.
And I'm grateful for that.
Me too!
Whoa, this episode got dark. Anyway, somehow this priest is better than most other priests.
He just kills people. He doesn't.
Yeah,
Anyways,
and they're full-grown adults sometimes.
Woo!
Always, he did kill that teenager.
Anyways, we didn't mention it earlier, but Marty's wheelchair is motorized, and it is called the Silver Bullet, and it runs on gas, which is so funny. But Uncle Red made him a new one, which is a badass little, like, Vespa speed bike looking situation.
Yeah.
It's
like
supercharged.
Like a Vespa kind of motor, but like with the wheelchair, and he's got like, it's literally like a fucking motorcycle.
It's really cool.
He passes a car at one point in the road. Like, this little kid can
get it.
Fly. I love it.
And then he also gave him some fireworks since the town was so afraid that they canceled the carnival and the fireworks display that they were going to do for like a Halloween festival.
Man, that's what drunkles are for. Giving kids fireworks.
But he's like, stay close, or stay, what did he say?
I don't remember.
Like, stay
exactly,
close or something.
Like, yeah, and of course, so the kid sneaks out that night. Jeff was kind of laughing because he was like, he's crawling. That kid's going out the window. And let me remind viewers who haven't seen this child is wheelchair bound.
He literally cannot use his legs.
He climbs right the fuck out that window.
He has upper body strength for days.
Yeah.
I would fall after being up. I would be like, oh god, just give up.
I can't hold myself. But if you could only use your arms.
That's true. Also, he weighs like, 50 pounds, and I weigh like, we don't have to go there.
we don't need to go there. But that funeral that we were just talking about, it ends up making sense that it's multiple coffins because it's a dream sequence.
They all turn to werewolves.
Which is like my favorite scene in the whole movie. Everyone just slowly starts turning into werewolves, and he's like, the Reverend's just like looking all horrified and like, no! Like, I love that. It's, it reminds me a lot of the dream in American Werewolf in London. Have you seen that movie? Because if you haven't, we're gonna fight.
Ah,
we fought just now. I beat her. You really?
I didn't retaliate.
It's the greatest.
I watched a lot of like countdown documentaries and things of that nature that have shown a lot of scenes from it, and it looks incredible. I don't know why I just need to.
Werewolf movie ever. It still holds up to this day. All the effects will blow your fucking mind.
I've seen the transforming scene.
It's really actually still very funny, still very smart, really interesting, great pace, great acting, and fucking scary.
Who does the special effects for that movie?
I want to say Greg Nicotero.
I think it's Greg Nicotero. I think you're right, but I'm going to look it up. Please continue.
Yes. I did see Tom Savini's going to be at Scarefest this year. I wasn't that interested in going to Scarefest until I would love to meet Tom Savini. I haven't gotten an opportunity
He's nice
yet.
to women.
Oh, I bet he is. Anyway, so I really love all the transformation effects on this. I think it's cool.
Rick Baker, my bad.
Rick Baker. Oh, well,
I love
honestly,
Greg Nicotero too.
Yeah, honestly, Rick Baker is top fucking tier.
Truly.
There are few people in the world who are Rick Baker. I mean, Rick Baker, Greg Nicotero, fucking
Tom Savini.
Like, they are if there are three wise men of horror FX, I think it's them.
Absolutely.
And then Heather Langenkamp Anderson and her husband are also right up there. They're the ones who did all of the special effects. Their company did all the special effects for Cabin in the Woods.
Well, I'll get that later.
And all kinds of other stuff. Oh, yeah. David Anderson married Heather Langenkamp, who is now Heather Langenkamp-Anderson, who is from Nightmare on Elm Street.
Nightmare, yeah. I love her.
And yeah, she does, they do special effects. They own a special effects company. They do it for all kinds of movies, but my favorite movie they've done is Cabin in the Woods. So all of those effects came from Nancy.
Also, Mike Flanagan's show on Netflix, The Midnight Club.
I love Mike Flanagan.
Yeah, it's Heather Langenkamp is like the head person of this school for these terminally ill kids. I heard
about that. Yeah, I need to watch that.
It's really good. It's not like as scary as some of his other stuff.
He's great.
It's just really good storytelling. It will make you sob, Casey.
He does Stephen King adaptations better than anyone else.
I can't wait for Gerald's Game.
Oh, Dr. Sleep.
Oh, I still haven't seen Dr. Sleep. That's on my list.
Have you seen Hush?
Yes.
Oh, I love Hush.
I didn't know that was Mike Flanagan.
Yeah, and he's married to Katie Siegel, who's the star. They wrote that movie together, and they had some really fun writing processes of she would be sitting on the couch watching TV, and he would go around like the outside of the house and try to like find ways to break in to write it into the movie. Yeah.
That's insane.
Yes. Mike Flanagan is
I fucking love Mike Flanagan.
And I love Kate Siegel, and that is a great movie. He also did... obviously, Haunting of Hill House.
Mm-hmm. Didn't he do... Nope.
I can't remember. Anyway, he's amazing. He's super great.
Yes.
So, back to this. So,
Marty goes to the bridge to light off some fireworks.
Another really cool effect from that dream that I really liked was the bleeding piano.
Oh, that was really cool.
It was. I really like that. I want to do something like that, but who's going to let me pour blood all over their piano, you know?
Elijah gave me a free keyboard. We can do it with the keyboard.
Nice. So, yes, so he, Marty does take his new wheelchair in the middle of the night to this little bridge, so he can light off his fireworks. That's a very preteen thing to do.
And, you know, he's just there having a good time, watching his fireworks, and who comes out after him, Casey?
Well, there's someone, he's lurking in the trees. Mr. Werewolf. He's lurking all around.
You see, he's there.
And it's actually a really good tension-building scene where they're kind of cutting back and forth between the kid having fun and him, you know, just very small, vague glimpses, because we haven't gotten a full shot of the werewolf yet. The director does a good job of fighting him until a good moment. Till this moment.
This is a good moment.
Because he's lighting off the fireworks, and then Mr. Werewolf starts running at him. And wow, does Marty have great aim.
He does. So he's having, like, there was one rocket that Uncle Red told him to use last. And
it's like an M80 bottle rocket style, like.
Yeah. And he's like, he sees this thing coming at him. He already, like, knew that there was something fucked up happening in this town. And so he's, like, trying to light the matches, and then he gets it just in time, and it just fucking shoots that werewolf in the eye.
Right in the eye.
And then he's zipping away on his little bike.
Oh, he is gone.
He gone.
I love it. He is, this little kid's a badass, man. This is a good time to bring up the voiceover that comes in, like, 2 or 3 times for exposition for no reason.
I thought that was weird.
Makes no sense.
I was wondering if that was mentioned in the book.
No, not at all. Because it's a very simple story in the book.
Mm-hmm.
It happens over a year. He murders one person a month for a year when the full moon comes out, and then, you know, the eye thing does happen. He does get his eye all fucked up, and then that's how they figure out who it is. But, yeah, no, it's just a very, very simple werewolf story. But, yeah, it doesn't make any sense because it's supposed to be Jane as an older woman, like, telling the story, but it's not voiced by the actress who plays Jane. Voiced by a random woman who's never seen in the movie. And then it basically just tells exposition when the movie doesn't want to do it in a smart or entertaining way.
It literally didn't fucking matter.
What's
that
the easiest way
to
explain what's happening right now? Oh, throw in a voiceover that comes in at the beginning, in the middle, and I don't even think it comes at the end, does it? There's not even like a denouement with a fucking voiceover. It's
I don't remember because it was that insignificant to the story.
It makes no sense. So, he goes home, he tells his sister, I shot the werewolf, but I did not shoot the deputy. So
That's good.
Thank you.
That's really good.
Thank you. So he does tell her that, and she believes him. And
Sorry, you had.
shoot the vampire.
Ooh, I like that. Did you make that up?
Yes, it did.
I like it.
I did. I don't know where that came from. So anyway, and the sister believes him, and she comes up with this great idea. She is collecting cans and bottles for like the church drive. And so she's going around to everyone in the town asking if they have cans and bottles, looking for a fucking. And
One-eyed wonder.
Yep. He said, "Left eye, motherfucker. You see somebody with a left eye injury, you know." And there's like a really good tense scene when she's in the barber shop, and the guy's got like the hot towel over his face, and she just like having hands, and he's like, "No." Like, this man
He
is
doesn't even
so
say
annoyed.
anything. He just stares at her, and she's like, "Cool."
He's so annoyed that this little girl, and she's just, this is a brave fucking child. Not only is she doing this, she's like, she could have just been like, "Oh, I hope it's not him." No, she's like, not you. Like,
Gosh.
and she goes around the whole town, she can't find anybody. She's got her whole cart filled up. She's like, "Oh, I can't believe I even trusted my brother anyway." And then the coolest fucking reveal. She's like walking behind the reverend. She's like, "Oh, I'm here to, give you my bottles and my cans."
He's like, "Just go throw them in the shed."
And the camera starts over here, and it like pans over, and you see her walking, but then it pans, and it's in front, like right here in front of the reverend, with her still in the background.
Eye patch.
She's got an eye patch.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
I was like, "Oh my
It's
god,
the sexy
reverend."
priest. Which makes him sexier for me. Again, monster fucker extraordinaire.
Want the one eye?
The werewolf. The fact that he's a werewolf.
What about the one eye thing?
No, that doesn't do anything for me.
Okay.
No, it's just the fact that he is a werewolf.
Okay.
I'm just like, werewolf.
Anyways, so she is putting, I'm not giving any more energy to the monster fucker for this moment.
It'll come later.
So will you. So, we're in the shed. She's putting, her cans and stuff in there, and she, like, has this weird, like she smells something really off, and then, it was a rat. A rat scared her, and she fell into a pile of cans. And then when she turned around, she could see the broken bat that was the peacemaker.
Yeah.
It literally has that carved into it.
So she knew it was the bat that the bartender had, that we saw the werewolf hilariously then beat him to death with.
Yeah, and so she knew he was dead, so why else would that be there? You know?
Why would he have that there? Why would it, and what is that smell? And what
These are
is
smart
going
children.
on?
Yeah.
Yes, she is a very smart child. So then, priest does come in, she sees the eye patch, confirms, like, oh shit, he's the werewolf.
She freaks out, she tenses up, and just gets the fuck out of there.
So these kids, in their wonderful childlike minds, think, I know what to do.
Send him threat letters.
Serial killer letters.
Like with the cutout, like, the magazine cutout letters. Anonymous. What is that gonna do?
I can't.
I also said that they're, like, telling Uncle Red about this, and he just does not believe any of it. And I was like, very ironic that Gary Busey is calling someone crazy.
Oh my god, that's the funniest thing in fucking life, is just that in general. Just Gary Busey being like, nah, you're crazy. Are you looking in the mirror? How we doing today, Gary Busey? We're doing great! Anyway.
So we cut to a scene where Marty is kind of watching these kids play baseball, and it's focusing on all their legs and stuff, and you can tell he's, like, having a moment of...
This is the dumbest scene in this movie.
It's really stupid.
It's just a bunch of close-ups on legs, and then it'll cut to Marty, and then more close-ups on legs.
And then it
I
cuts
get
to...
it. I get it. He wants legs. I think everyone watching this movie
Understands.
can assume this little boy who is wheelchair bound would like to be able to walk. I don't understand.
Yeah, that was a stupid scene for sure, but it does.
And it could have been done in any other way. He could have been talking to his sister. Man, I wish I could be like the other kids. His
Right.
best friend.
They
His uncle.
Film legs.
Nope, just close-ups of legs. Just legs.
But
Just boy
something-
legs.
But something I did really like in this movie is that none of the kids were, like, mean to him.
No.
They were all
Yeah.
very, like, they were, like, you know, like, the kids playing baseball saw him, they tried to invite him to come
Yeah.
play, like,
Yeah.
everyone
and you can
was...
tell he's done, like, they've done that before. Like, hey, are you coming in? Like, he's like, nah, I gotta go. I gotta go kill the werewolf.
And subsequently, the werewolf was watching him from his car. Oh, this scene's cool.
Oh my god, yeah, it's kind of funny. It's actually really fucking funny.
He
Watching
tried to
a
run
priest-
Marty off a bridge.
Watching a priest try to run down
A disabled child.
in his car on a bridge.
Tried to knock him off the fucking bridge.
I don't know. That was pretty funny to watch.
That was camp.
Yeah. So he's avoiding, they're going around in circles, and he goes over this bridge that's like been boarded off. It's like a covered bridge, and he's sitting there, and
His wheelchair dies.
yeah. Oh my god! Like,
Or runs out of fuel.
could it be more camp? I'm sorry, but this poor child. And then after I stopped laughing at that, I actually got this like real sense of dread about it, thinking like
He's stuck. He
when,
can't
yeah, I
go
was gonna say,
anywhere.
when you're in that, like, you put yourself in the situation of these people in these horror movies. You're like, man, it would suck to be stuck, and you're always thinking like, oh, I would maybe try to run, or I would maybe kick, do something.
Not an
The
option.
feeling of like the thought of being this kid who is literally so stuck, like cannot do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And so the Reverend pulls up, he walks in, and the little kid's like, I won't tell anyone. And I said, else.
Yeah, I was like,
Told,
you already
5
did.
people. But that Reverend's about to kill that kid. Just
I don't
right there.
normally harm kids. Bitch, yes you do.
But
But luckily there was a man on his tractor.
yes, who was coming out because of his field or whatever.
Bush hogging.
And he Marty starts screaming. This is, I think, when the Reverend admits to killing the pregnant woman. Am I correct? I want to say right around here.
I think you're right.
So when he's talking to Marty, he does say, so this is what I wanted to bring up earlier.
Something about, like, her
He,
sin and wanted to save her soul. Yeah.
yes, so he's talking about the pregnant woman. He's like, I did her a favor because she was going to kill herself, and in their religion, Christianity, I assume, they, killing yourself is a mortal sin, and you will go to hell if you take your own life. And so he, quote, did her a favor by killing her so that her and her baby could go to heaven. And this is what I think is really fucking interesting about the way they're setting up this lore, because the way most of us know werewolves is when you're in the werewolf state, you are completely
Out of it.
yes, you have no control whatsoever. And in a lot of movies, you don't even remember what you did. But even if you do, once you're that werewolf, you are just the werewolf. You're not a person running around as a wolf. You are a wolf.
I have a question, though.
Yes.
What did the child do that was a mortal sin to be killed? What did all the villagers do that were mortal sins to deserve to be killed?
That's a good question, and I don't think that any of those have an answer. I think, he's just an asshole.
Yeah, I think it shouldn't have even been brought up then.
No.
Like, why are you trying to justify
It
thing with, like, being like, I'm saving her soul, but what about the rest of the people?
It is really interesting that he just does try to justify the one.
Yeah, not even the fucking child that he killed.
I guess maybe because the rest of them were sinners.
But he's a child. Aren't children, like, not able to be penalized under God? I don't know.
No, you're born with sin in that religion. You're born with original sin. You have to be baptized. If you're not in that, and
What if he
a
was
lot of those
baptized? Is he still gonna die and go to hell, or is he still gonna go to hell?
that's the thing. If you don't, you can still be a sinner even if you have been baptized, and you are still born with original sin. So if you're a baby and then you get baptized, then you're good, but you have still sinned as a child and a teenager, which is why you have to go to confession and things like that to absolve yourself of that sin.
I think it's horseshit.
It's absolute
I think they should have thought that through a little bit more.
Horseshit.
Yeah.
Absolute horseshit.
I didn't think... I was picking up on what you were putting down for that, but I was thinking, like, none of the rest of them make sense.
I think I'm thinking way more into this than the movie ever did.
Yeah. If he had, like, gone through and, like, was, like, talking at this trial, doing a monologue about how each person that he killed did XYZ thing, I would have thought that was pretty cool.
Right.
Like in Seven, how there's, like, this person was a glutton, and here's what they did. This person did this.
Hey, even that falls apart in the end. His little thing. Because it doesn't make any sense. Because how is he envy? And if so, how... And then if Brad Pitt is Wrath, why doesn't he die and get... Anyway, I could talk about Seven for a while. Some people don't think that's a horror movie. I think it's a horror movie.
Oh my god, yeah.
I think it falls under the umbrella of horror. I also think it is a crime drama thriller. I would say it's a crime thriller first and foremost, secondary or tertiary. Anyway, so the fucking stupid way that Gary Busey, like, confirms that the priest is a werewolf, because they, like, got into that little fender bender between the car and his little wheelchair thing. He gets away, he tells them. And yeah, they, like, swapped paint or whatever, so he's got the blue paint on there, and then he sees the priest car, and it's got, like, the dent or whatever. It's, like, also, that little kid could have just run into the priest car and not wanted to tell anybody, hey, I hit the car of the priest.
But also, like, the addition of the one eye thing, you know, like, those are pretty damning things.
But if I'm an adult and children are telling me these things...
But, I mean, the little girl was evidence. Like, you used to believe in him.
That's still not enough evidence for me.
I mean, you could tell, because he went to tell the deputy that, like, you need to check out the Reverend. And he's like, yeah, okay. Like, you could tell he didn't really give a shit, but he was going to go there anyways.
Yeah.
So he goes there late at night, and...
It's kind of interesting. This movie doesn't really have a plot, and there's really not a climax. I mean, there kind of is, but I feel like it's got just as much tension as some of the other scenes.
Yeah.
And it doesn't last very long.
You're right, but he goes... Where does he find him? Does he go into his house? No, where was he?
I just know at the end, they're all at Marty's house, and it's just the three of them.
He kills the Reverend. Or the Reverend kills the deputy.
Yeah, somehow. And then they're all waiting around for... Marty and Jane give their silver necklaces, which is a reference to another werewolf movie that I can't remember right now. They smelt that down into a silver bullet. Silver bullet. And so they're all waiting around, waiting for the werewolf to show up. And yeah, again, it's a little anticlimactic because the werewolf does show up.
It's a very short, like, struggle.
He like comes in through the window. Him and Gary Busey are fighting. Kudos to Gary Busey. He did, I think, all of his own stunts for this scene. And he is being thrown across a lot of rooms.
That is true.
A lot of rooms.
I'm not blaming this on Gary Busey. I'm blaming this on the writing. Why the fuck did you take the bullet out of the gun? He took the bullet out of the gun.
Nonsense.
And
Makes
2
none
seconds
sense.
later, the werewolf's like, yo, bitch.
It's a MacGuffin. It's something to make the fight last slightly longer.
And it was a short fight, even
because it falls in like a little vent, and he just has to like
get his
the little kid reaches in and pulls it out and shoots the werewolf in the eye. But again, it's literally the entire climax of this movie. And I really don't have a big problem with this movie. I liked it, especially up till this point. I thought it was actually a really good movie. Mm-hmm. They just completely fucked it with the ending because it's just Gary Busey being thrown around, and then it cuts to the little kid trying to grab the bullet, and then Gary Busey gets thrown into another corner, and you're getting glimpses of this, honestly, in my opinion, still really cool werewolf suit.
Yeah.
But there's nothing happening. He's just getting tossed around. Like, if Gary Busey had died, if he had gotten a really cool death in that moment when the kid was grabbing the bullet, and then he had killed the werewolf, super awesome. I love when the Reverend, like, de-transforms back into a guy.
And he shot him in the other eye, by the way.
Yes.
So now...
No eyes.
No eyes.
You have no eyes. You had 2 eyes, now you have no eyes. And
No-eyed low.
Ooh. Ooh, that's funny.
Thank you.
I like that. Oh.
Yeah, I mean, he's like doing his detransformation, and it was really cool. But then again, there's this one final like and then boop. I'm like, no, you don't.
So cheesy.
He died instantly. Like the second that bullet hit him.
Yes,
he did not
in his
he
brain.
Did not go, he fell over, so he would not be fucking doing that again. That made me mad, but it was really funny because the little boy made a joke about his legs. And I was like, he's got a sense of humor. He'll do all right.
Yeah.
And then?
Yeah, because he's like, I'm okay, except my legs. What's wrong? I can't feel them.
She's like, oh. And I was like, ew.
Ew. End of movie. Again, it was really good up till a certain point, and then it's like, oh, that's the ending? That's all you got?
It was very anticlimactic.
Like, I don't know. I think when is the last time we got a werewolf? Oh, did you see Werewolf by Night? It was actually a Disney horror movie that came out recently. It's part of the Marvelverse, so it's a Marvel movie, but it has nothing to do with any other Marvel characters, so you don't need to know anything about it.
Heard.
I really liked it. It's almost entirely in black and white. I actually thought it was pretty fucking good. A little werewolf movie. I did not like the 2010 Wolfman. We need more werewolf movies coming out, man. Werewolves are, it's good material, man. And like, again, 2010 Wolfman, not great. Van Helsing, really not great.
The scene, is it in Trick or Treat or All Hallows Eve? I forget, but like where the
Trick or Treat,
where the chicks all turn into werewolves, and that fucking awful Marilyn Manson cover. It's a good cover, but he's a terrible person.
Yeah, fuck him. It is a good cover. It is a really good cover, but fuck that guy.
Yeah, I love that scene. They're hot. They're trying to
and
like.
again, let's make a
lure
whole
these men
movie like that, because that is one
sexy
segment.
siren werewolves.
That is one segment of an anthology. Great anthology, possibly one of my favorite anthologies.
Oh, easily.
But let's get a whole movie of that, like a cult of lady werewolves that are luring these men in.
I mean, it's not unheard of.
Where like,
from
like a movie where like it's like this town, and they think this little like group of girls, this group of women is witches, and so like these people are going to investigate, like out them as witches, but then it turns out they're fucking werewolves.
That's pretty cool.
Good movie. Somebody at me. Somebody, I'll sell you the rights.
I was going to say, it's not unheard of that we have these short anthology characters being turned into full-length movies. I mean, we have All Hallows Eve, which, you know, seeded Art the Clown and Terrifier 2.
And Terrifier 2 was huge.
Yeah, and we're going to get an even bigger and better one for Terrifier 3. And then we have, you know, the Succubus from VHS. She got her own movie.
She did?
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet, but she has her own movie.
She's somewhere on my walls. She's right over there.
Yeah.
I like you.
I'm trying to think. There's one more that I can...
I just love that. I really do.
All Hallows Eve, VHS, and then there's one more.
We should do some anthology movies, like maybe next spring or something.
I would
do like
absolutely
a month of anthology movies. Have you seen?
We could do like an anthology August or anthology autumn or something.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
There's one that was like a Netflix one that was all holidays. And there's one that's an Easter one, and it's this giant Jesus skin bunny thing.
Yes. Oh my god, yes, I did watch that.
Ooh, that one's good.
Tales of Halloween is one of my personal favorites.
I love that, yeah.
ABCs of Death, the whole VHS franchise.
Both creep shows, obviously.
Both creep shows.
Yeah, but anyway.
Anyways, we're going on.
This, again, I thought it was definitely good for an 80s movie. Could have had a much, much, much better ending.
Could have had a much worse ending.
Yes.
It's way better than Dreamcatcher.
In her opinion, I liked Dreamcatcher.
And I did it!
That was really cool. I liked that. And I did it. But anyway, next week continues the Summer of Stephen King. I don't know what we're doing.
We don't.
We were going to be doing Maximum Overdrive soon, but we're going to be doing that closer to the end in August. Because we were going to have a really cool guest who specifically requested Maximum Overdrive, cocaine-fueled movie about killer trucks.
on cocaine.
No, just Stephen King, and everyone else in the movie was on cocaine.
Oh, it'd be a lot cooler if the trucks were on cocaine.
Jab, 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 jab.
Anyway, so yeah, next week continues that. In the meantime, like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure you follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Barely Living Dreadful, Twitter at Living Dreadful. You can email us at barelylivingdreadful@gmail.com with comments, questions, concerns, and requests. Definitely send Jess some more found footage stuff. She's doing found footage research. She needs all the best found footage movies.
I already have like 14,
put together a
but
list.
You can send me more.
Yes, she loves it. She loves it.
I watch them like 3 a week. I go on
love
Tubi and I watch like 3 a week.
Yeah, because I mean, you're doing other things. You watch a movie. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, make sure you follow all of those. Get a hold of us if you want any of the stickers, the Dread Girl pillows, and yeah, till next week.
Stay spooky. Bye.